When it comes to sole grinds in the Vokey wedge family, you have a lot of choices. You've got the S, the F, the M, the K, the D, there's the T, and the A. And to that list, you can now add one more because Titleist has just added this to its regular line in the WedgeWorks family. This is a Titleist WedgeWorks V-Grind wedge. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly how it's made, what it's designed to do, and if it might be the right wedge to unlock your short game. So the mainline wedges from Titleist right now are the Vokey Design SM10 wedges. And like those, the WedgeWorks V-Grind, which is only going to be available as a 58 and a 60-degree lob wedge. This club is cast from 8620 carbon steel, so it's going to give it an exceptionally soft feel. And like the rest of the SM10 wedges from Titleist, all of the grooves have been inspected to make sure that they are as sharp as possible without going over the USGA's limit in terms of the sharpness of the groove edges or the radius. Titleist has also shifted a little bit more of the weight from the bottom of the golf club up to the top to elevate the center of gravity. Now, ordinarily, when I'm talking to you about woods and irons, a low back center of gravity location is going to be something pretty desirable for most golfers because it's going to help to promote a higher flying shot. But with 58 or 60 degrees of loft, getting the ball up in the air is not going to be a challenge with this golf club. By elevating the center of gravity, it's going to help to create actually a slightly lower, more piercing ball flight, which may be a little bit counterintuitive for some people, but it's going to help to enhance distance control, especially in the hands of more accomplished players. Now, the real story and the differentiating factor when you get into the V-Grind wedge is going to be happening down here on the sole. As you can see, it's got quite a bit of heel and toe relief here, so the material has been ground out, so you should be able to open up the face on different types of shots around the green to give you a lot more versatility. But at the same time, you'll notice that there is a significant amount of bounce, about 10 degrees of bounce that's been pushed slightly more forward than it is in many of the other Titleist Vokey Design SM10 wedges. That little seam where that bounce sort of comes to a point is often referred to as a ribbon. Now, because that seam or that ribbon has been pushed more towards the leading edge, it's going to do a few things. Number one, it's going to get that bounce much more forward. So if you're going to be using this club in very tight conditions, very hard conditions, it's going to make it a little bit more challenging. But if you're a golfer who is playing in softer conditions, in fluffier sand, or if you're especially steep with your angle of attack, having that added bounce, that 10 degrees of bounce, is going to be probably beneficial to you, especially if you're trying to play from a closed stance position when you're not opening up the face and taking advantage of that heel relief. If you like to hit chip shots, for example, in soft conditions from a relatively closed or square stance position, having that bounce be more forward is going to give you more room for error, and this type of wedge might be something that would be beneficial to you. However, when you do get yourself into either bunkers or in really thick loft, that combination of 10 degrees of bounce along with that heel and toe relief makes this an excellent club for players who are struggling in the sand. Now, Bob Vokey oftentimes has little words or players that he names his different grinds for. The K grind, for example, is his Tom Kite grind. The S grind is the Steve Stricker grind. The M grind is Vok's most favorite grind. I think you can think of the V grind as being the versatile grind. Among the golfers on the PGA Tour who have a V grind wedge in their bag, you're going to be talking about Billy Horschel and Ludwig Oberg as being regular V grind users. Now, Titleist made this WedgeWorks V-Grind 60-degree wedge available to me to try out. I had actually had an opportunity to try a V-Grind fairly recently because it had been offered as a limited edition, very limited supply run only. But what's really cool now is that V-Grind is going to be a regular standing offering within the WedgeWorks world. And if you're not familiar, WedgeWorks is sort of the boutique arm within Titleist Vokey Design. It has its own website, and you can really check out a lot of different things there and do a lot of advanced customization within WedgeWorks. What I found with the V-Grind is that the ball really felt like on chip shots as if it were sitting on the face for a long time. That 8620 carbon steel, while it is cast, and a lot of people really sort of turn up their nose to cast clubs, the vast majority of wedges out there are cast. I felt that there was a lot of feel that I was getting with this. It felt like the ball was sitting on the face for a long time, and I felt like I was getting a lot of spin. Getting the ball up in the air with that 58 or 60 degrees of loft, not a problem. At the same time, I am not somebody who likes to take a 58 or 60 degree wedge and hit it with a full swing. Just my own ability and my 10 handicap, that is not something I'm really comfortable with. To me, I think this thing really shines out of bunkers. I really felt like that sole really worked its way through the sand very, very effectively. I love the fact that you can open it right up, yet still get that 10 degrees of bounce there. It's a really versatile type of bounce. You know, I think that with 10 degrees of bounce, you're in this moderate bounce. It's not a low bounce wedge by any reason. It's not an especially high bounce. If you're somebody who, for example, is in the Titleist world and you're playing a K grind, that's like a get out of jail free card when it comes to bunkers. I see the V grind as much more of an all-arounder. It's going to be really good in a lot of different locations, but it's not going to shine its brightest in any one. And I think that's a compliment. V, versatility. Having versatility around the greens is great. I really like the V grind on chip shots hit from a relatively square position. I almost always hit my chip shots from a square position, and here in the Northeast in the autumn, the conditions are starting to get soft again. You know, the heat of our summer, the firmness of our fairways, those are gone. We're playing in soft conditions here, and having that bounce be a little bit more forward gave me a little bit more comfort, a little bit more reassurance that I could be aggressive on some of those moves down into the ball, and that this club was going to want to avoid digging. It's going to want to keep the leading edge up just a little bit and go through that turf a little bit more easily. I can get a better, more penetrating kind of a chip shot, which is really what I'm looking for. All that said, if I were playing regularly on a links style course, if I were playing down in South Texas or out in Arizona where the turf conditions tend to be very firm, when the sand tends to be pretty coarse in the bunkers, I'm not sure if the V ground is really going to be the one that's best for you. But there's a whole ton of different Titleist, Vokey design soul grinds out there, so I think that's fine. If you're someone like me who tends to play in softer conditions, if you tend to get a little bit steep, if you are somebody who is just starting to get a little bit of confidence in your short game and with pitching and chipping, but you really are trying to broaden out your horizons, trying to hit different types of shots, V-grind could be exactly the type of wedge that you might want to add to your bag. So that should be just about everything you need to know about the Titleist WedgeWorks V-Grind Wedge. It'll be fantastic as always. If you would like, comment, and subscribe to this video, it really helps my channel out quite a bit. If you have any other questions also with regard to any of the Titleist Vokey design wedges out there or wedges in general, I'm here to help. Please let me know how I can help you. I do try and monitor that comment area as best I can and answer as many questions as I possibly can. So hopefully this gave you quite a bit of good information about this new V-Grind wedge, and I'll look forward to seeing you again real soon.